Welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Matt.
Oh, sorry, and I'm Nina. Sorry, I was just looking at these pictures that they're supposed to test for colorblind, and it's interesting to think that some people actually cannot see like the numbers or the images that are on this picture.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
Really?
like you can see it, right?
I mean, I see a bunch of circles, different colored circles.
Okay, so can you see the number in the middle of this image?
I can see that there are green circles and some orange and red circles. And no, I cannot see a number.
Really?
You can see a number there?
Yeah,
Really?
there's a number 6.
There's a number 6
right
here.
over here.
Okay, I think when you point it out, maybe I can make out where the 6 would be. But yeah, I guess I am
Colorblind.
colorblind.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, yeah.
Interesting.
So, in fact, our article today is actually called Why Men Are More Likely to Be Colorblind. So maybe it's not a big surprise that I should be colorblind because, as the title of the article says, men are more likely. So you apparently are not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not. So you are colorblind, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is it with colorblind? You don't really see green and red clearly, is that right?
I think it's more that you don't see when they're not so bright, when they're more like brownish colors, not so super green, not super red, but more in the middle. They're hard to tell the difference between them.
I see. Okay, and I believe there are different levels of colorblindness.
Yeah, I think there are different degrees to how colorblind you can be.
Okay.
Anyway, let's find out more when we get into our article today called Why Men Are More Likely to Be Colorblind.
Colorblindness is a condition that makes it difficult to tell different colors apart. If you're a man, you're more likely to be colorblind. In fact, 1 in 12 males are colorblind, but only 1 in 200 females are. The reason for this difference is the X chromosome. Females have 2 X chromosomes. Males have an X and a Y chromosome. Colorblindness is passed from parents to children via the X chromosome. For the condition to be passed on to a girl, both of her X chromosomes would need to have the gene for colorblindness. But if a boy's single X chromosome has the gene, he will be colorblind.
All right, so now let's get into why men are more likely to be colorblind.
So in our title there we have a vocabulary word, and it's an adjective, and it's likely. Likely means to have a high probability of happening. So if it's more likely, it means it's more probable that it will happen. So it's more probable that men will be colorblind. It happens more often than to women. So for example, if you arrive early, you're likely to get a good seat for the show. It means you can probably get a good seat for the show.
Okay, so colorblindness is a condition that makes it difficult to tell different colors apart. Okay, so I guess there are different types of colorblindness, different levels as well, right? So a condition is the state that something is in, especially relating to its physical or mental state. So in this case, the condition of your eyes, your colorblindness, right? Okay, for example, people with heart conditions should try to stay away from heavy exercise.
Okay. So this is an eye condition. If you're a man, you're more likely to be colorblind.
That's not fair, is it?
It's not fair. In fact, 1 in 12 males are colorblind, but only 1 in 200 females are.
Wow, okay, so you got a little bit unlucky
That's
being
right.
1 of 12.
Well, 1 of 12 is actually, that means it's quite probable. It means if you can think of 12 men you know, then it's likely that one of them is colorblind, or at least one of them. So you probably know someone who is colorblind, or maybe if you're a boy or a man, maybe you are colorblind.
And you just don't know it. Okay, so we mentioned the word male. It's a noun. It's just basically a guy, a man, or a boy, right? So there's male and female would be a woman or a girl.
Okay.
So for example, there are more males than females in the class.
Okay, so more boys or men in the class than there are girls or women. So there's more males than females.
Yes.
So the reason for this difference is the X chromosome. Females have 2 X chromosomes. Males have an X and a Y chromosome. So these chromosomes are the things that give you your DNA, that decide everything about a person, what they will look like, what they will be like. And when you have 2 X chromosomes, that will make you female. But if you have an X and a Y chromosome, that will make you a male. So colorblindness is passed from parents to children via the X chromosome.
Okay, let's learn more about it. For the condition to be passed on to a girl, both of her X chromosomes would need to have the gene for colorblindness. Okay, so both of them would have to have the gene. Okay. But if a boy's single X chromosome has a gene, he will be colorblind. Oh, interesting.
Okay, so that makes sense. I would have thought, from when I was reading before, I would have thought that if it's from the X chromosome and a female has 2 X chromosomes, she should have more of a chance of being colorblindness. But as it turns out, because she would need to have both X chromosomes have that gene, or that information that gives her color blindness, and a boy only needs it on his 1 X chromosome.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense then, because with a girl, you have the chance of having your other X chromosome that doesn't have the gene, whereas a boy just has a Y chromosome, so it's all dependent on that 1
Right,
X.
so that means a girl would need to have, both parents would need to have the gene for color blindness in order for her to be colorblind.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I still think there's a lot more to learn about why men are more likely to be colorblind, and we'll see you to learn more after the break.
Okay.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。今天的课程要来看看 Why men are more likely to be colorblind。为什么男性比较容易有色盲呢？那么标题里面用到 likely 就是形容可能的，可能要发生的。我们可以用 be likely to 加原形动词去表达有可能做某事。那么 Matt 老师他在讲解时则用到 probable P-R-O-B-A-B-L-E 这个字是形容很可能发生的。那我们把后面这个 A-B-L-E 改成 A-B-I-L-I-T-Y 变成 probability， 那就可以表达可能性。好，课文提到说，色盲是一种难以辨别不同颜色的疾病。那么男性比较有可能患有色盲。事实上啊，每12位男性当中就有1位患有色盲，而每200位女性当中只有1位患有色盲。造成这种差异的原因就在于 X 染色体，女性是有2个 X 染色体，那么男性则是有1个 X 染色体和1个 Y 染色体。由于色盲是透过 X 染色体从双亲传给孩子，那这种疾病要传给女孩，她的2个 X 染色体都需要带有色盲基因，那么男孩他只要单一个 X 染色体带有色盲基因，他就会有色盲，所以这样几率就比较高了嘛。好，那我们来看看单字 condition。它表示健康问题或是疾病，这个单字也可以指像是居住或工作的那种环境啊条件。当这意思解释时，会用复数型。再来看到 male， 它表示男性、雄性，在前面加上 fe 变成 female， 那就是女性或是雌性。好，这边3个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看第一个重点是 tell 什么什么 apart， 表示区分、辨别。举例来说 ，I can't tell the twins apart， 我分辨不出那对双胞胎。那第二个重点是表达占多少点点点的用法。第一种呢是去表示说总数当中有几个的时候，用法是占比数加上 in 或是 out of， 再加上总数。举例来说 2 in 3 people 或是 2 out of 3 people own a smartphone in the country. 在那个国家里，每3个人当中就有2个人拥有智慧型手机。那第二个用法，我们可以用分数来表达几分之几。那这时候用法就是分数加上 of 加名词。要特别注意哦，分数当中的分子我们是用基数表示，也就是 1, 2, 3这样子。那么分母是用序数表示，也就是像 third, fourth, fifth 之类的。那如果分子大于1，我们的分母必须加上 s。举例来说，2/3的说法是 2/3，这个 third 有加 s。好，那我们看个例句。2/5 of the students passed the math test. 2/5的学生通过了数学测验。那第三个用法呢，是表示百分之几。那我们用法是数字加上 percent of 加名词。举例来说，30% of his income is spent on rent. 他收入的30%是花在房租上。那再看到第三个重点是 pass something on to somebody， 这是指说把什么传给某人。这个片语啊，也可以写作 pass on something to somebody， 用来指说可能是把传统啊、知识等等抽象的事物，或者是物品，或是疾病，或是遗产等等，传给了某人。举例来说 ，Grace's son caught the flu and passed it on to her。Grace 的儿子得了流感，接着传染给他了。好，接回课文中。
To show this, let's look at figure 1. Mary is colorblind, but George is not. They have 2 children. Their son Sam received his X chromosome from his mother and thus is also colorblind. Their daughter Kate, however, received 1 X chromosome from her dad and 1 from her mom. She is not colorblind, but she could pass on colorblindness to her own children one day.
Okay, welcome back. So before the break, we were talking about how males are more likely to get the color blindness gene, right? Because it's all deciding on the X chromosome.
That's right.
But for girls, you need both X chromosomes to have this gene for them to be colorblind.
Right, so females have 2 X chromosomes
Yes.
and males have an X and a Y chromosome.
Yeah.
And the females would need both X chromosomes to have the color blindness gene, whereas the males would only need it on their 1 X chromosome.
Okay. Exactly. Okay. So let's understand a little bit more about it.
Okay, so to show this, let's look at figure 1. Okay, so a figure is a noun and a figure is a visual representation of information or of data. So in this case, we have a visual representation of how men are more likely to be colorblind. So for example, I drew a figure to show the steps. So he's showing the information of the steps to do something by having a figure or something that he's drawn to explain it.
Yes. So continuing, Mary is colorblind, but George is not. They have 2 children. Their son, Sam, received his X chromosome from his mother and thus is also colorblind.
Okay.
You know what that means? That means that if your mom is colorblind and you have a son, and they have a child, then their son will definitely be colorblind.
Oh, that's right.
Right?
So yeah, so if your mom is colorblind, yeah, the son will always be colorblind, and the daughter
May or may
not be, depending on if the father is colorblind. So if it's a colorblind couple, they'll always have a colorblind, 2 colorblind kids.
Yeah.
But if it's colorblind mom, they'll always have a colorblind son.
Interesting, huh? So receive is to be given or presented with something. So she received the X chromosome from her mom, right? For example, Gina's latest book received excellent reviews. So she got excellent reviews, right?
So let's see what happens in figure 1. Their daughter Kate, however, received 1 X chromosome from her dad and 1 from her mom. She is not colorblind, but she could pass on colorblindness to her own children one day.
This is so cool. I feel like I'm back in science class.
Yeah. So this means that if the daughter has one X chromosome with the colorblindness gene, then she is not colorblind, but she can still pass on that gene to her children.
Yes, and if she has a son, she will definitely pass it on.
I think it depends.
If she has colorblindness herself.
Yeah, so if she has the colorblindness gene on one of her X chromosomes, she may or may not pass that down to her son.
Because she could pass down the one without it, right? Okay. What do you think? Can you name other conditions that can be passed from parents to children and explain what symptoms they cause?
Okay, so I think one thing that also has to do with your eyes that can be passed from parents to children is nearsightedness. So people might notice that if you see a couple of parents wearing glasses, you might also see that their children are wearing glasses.
Okay.
You have a whole family of glasses wearing people. So nearsightedness means that you cannot see things that are far away. So you might need glasses or contact lenses in order to see things that are far.
Okay, that's good to know.
Okay, so we've learned a lot about color blindness and maybe learned, why I'm colorblind. I guess my mom gave me the gene for color blindness, so I can blame her now that, my clothes don't match properly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it doesn't affect your life that much.
Anyway, so yes, we've learned why, and I hope you found it interesting, because I certainly did. And we'll see you next time.
All right, goodbye.
Bye.
好，那么课文有使用图表来说明，假设 Mary 她患有色盲 ，George 没有，那他们有2个孩子，儿子 Sam 从母亲那边得到 X 染色体，因此也有色盲。那么女儿 Kate 从爸爸那里得到一个 X 染色体，从妈妈那边也得到一个 X 染色体。那这样对照下来呢，她是不会有色盲的。可是未来还是有可能把色盲传给她的孩子。那来看看单字 figure。Figure 它可以指书或文件上面的图表，那这个单字也可以指数字。好，再来 receive 是动词，表示得到或者是接收到、接受。Matt 老师刚刚在聊到说可能会遗传的疾病时，他有提到近视。那我们来学一下 nearsighted， 就是形容近视的，在后面加上 ness 变成 nearsightedness， 就是近视。好，那以上是今天的讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Color blindness is a condition that makes it difficult to tell different colors apart. If you're a man, you're more likely to be colorblind. In fact, 1 in 12 males are colorblind, but only 1 in 200 females are. The reason for this difference is the X chromosome. Females have 2 X chromosomes. Males have an X and a Y chromosome. Color blindness is passed from parents to children via the X chromosome. For the condition to be passed on to a girl, both of her X chromosomes would need to have the gene for colorblindness. But if a boy's single X chromosome has the gene, he will be colorblind. To show this, let's look at figure 1. Mary is colorblind, but George is not. They have 2 children. Their son Sam received his X chromosome from his mother and thus is also colorblind. Their daughter Kate, however, received 1 X chromosome from her dad and 1 from her mom. She is not colorblind, but she could pass on colorblindness to her own children one day.
Sometimes we just get tired of city life. Running around, it's busy, it's crowded. It's nice to have a big park in the middle of a city where you can relax, take a deep breath, and enjoy nature. Today we are taking a look at Beisianhu, which is the 2nd largest park in Chiayi City. So let's take a look.
Beisianhu Park is the 2nd largest park in Chiayi City. In the past, Beisianhu Lake was used for storing water and growing crops. Beisianhu Park is an extended part of Boai Park. This idea is to bring Beihu Hexiang back again. Beihu Hexiang was recorded as part of the Qing dynasty's literature. It means lotus scent in the northern lake. Now, Beisianhu Park is a forestry cultural theme park. The trail in Beisianhu Park is shaped like a musical note. The lake is used for flood storage. At the park, you can find many places to rest or enjoy the views. They include Cherry Blossom Forest, Pizito Botanical Garden, Grassy Slope Scenic Area, and so on. Beisianhu Park is rich with many animals and plants. You can also find farmland green tree frogs here. This is a good place for doing exercise and taking a break.
One of my favorite things about living in Taiwan is all of the parks that are available inside big cities. This is definitely one of the prettiest parks that I've seen. It's shaped like a musical note. You can go there and see a cherry blossom forest, and best of all, those cute little tree frogs. So if you haven't been to Beisianhu, I suggest you go there and take a look. See you next time.